Hello and welcome to this potentially banned round of Beer Thursday. Jay and I are a little apprehensive to talk about this because it could offend some people and they might just decide, you know what? Not in my house. Not in my country. You keep those two hooligans, those two derelicts, those two heretics out. What do you think, Jay?
Lady, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, Jay had a great idea, and I think it's brilliant. It's bands and or artists who were banned from touring the United States.
Yes, touring the United States. Yeah, so, okay, the first one, are you familiar with a band called The Kinks?
Yeah, the Kinks. Bit of a double entendre there, if you don't mind me saying.
I do not. So they were part of the British invasion in the 60s, when many of the UK bands came to the US. Of course, the Beatles being the most famous. And they didn't enjoy a long stay in America, thanks to their reputation of being rowdy and rambunctious on and off stage. They were barred from playing America at the height of their success in the mid to late 60s. The American Federation of Musicians would not grant the band work permits for touring the U.S. solo because of infighting and one TV appearance, which band member assaulted a staffer. The band lasted 65 through 69 and cost them a great deal of money and a big hit to their fame.
I never did know that about the Kinks.
I didn't either.
I knew they had a few songs, and I thought they were just another kind of straight-laced rock band.
I didn't know they were troublemakers. Apparently they were troublemakers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I did know that Lola is a pretty dirty song.
Mm-hmm. Lola,
is that true?
Lola. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think they were banned. It wasn't really for their music. It was for their behavior. And there was that's not interesting anymore. I'm done with that one. So the next one would be Cat Stevens, aka Yusuf Islam.
Yeah, this one I've heard about Cat Stevens.
Yeah. Well, in 2004, he was placed on the no-fly list and barred from entering the U.S.
Yeah.
And U.S. Home Security officials said it was because of activities that could potentially be related to terrorism. Islam was already on a plane when his name was flagged, and he was flying to from London to Washington to meet Dolly Parton, who was set to include him on her upcoming album. His flight was then diverted to Maine, where he was detained. The next day, he was flown back to the UK. Islam has also been deported from Israel in 2000 on allegations he supported Hamas, but he denied doing it so knowingly. Islam was later allowed back in the U.S. in 2006, and he recorded a song about it in 2008 with Dolly Parton and Paul McCartney called Boots and Sand. Not to be confused with Boots and Pants, Boots and Pants, Boots and Pants.
Is that a song? What is that? I don't know what that is.
It's like Boots and Pants, Boots and Pants, Boots and Pants, Boots and Pants. It's the electronica music or...
Yeah, I remember that about him, about Cat Stevens. He converted to Islam, and so because of that, we just assumed he was a terrorist.
I mean, that's not straight up racism, is it? It's profiling.
Well, I mean, it's 3 years after the attacks on the World Trade Center, and there was a lot of that going on at the time.
Yeah.
And we were probably overly cautious about it. Definitely overly cautious about it. And it's really easy now to look back on it and talk about how ridiculous it was. But
yeah, that's
true. At the time, whether it was just part of a propaganda machine for all of that war on terror or whatever, or there really was someone who was legitimately concerned about something Cat Stevens did.
Yeah.
It seems a lot more ridiculous now than it did at the time. But I mean, I do remember it's been several years since I read the story about him converting and going, oh, come on. What was he going to do? He wasn't going to do anything. You have to have a little more evidence other than he changed religion.
Yeah. I mean, that was, but at the time I understand the paranoia about it, but looking back on it, it's, it was unfair. It was not fair to him, but
or the other passengers on that flight. Can you imagine being on that flight and I don't know, was it going to Nashville or LA? And then all of a sudden you go, nope, you're going to Maine and we have to get rid of the famous musician songwriter because he may be a terrorist.
Yeah.
What? That would be annoying. That'd be worse than not having Wi-Fi on your flight.
What? Oh, okay. So.
But Shirley, I just.
Hey, don't call me Shirley.
Mm.
So, yeah.
I'm not interrupting your train of thought, but it is time for what we in the sports world like to call a toast.
Well, you're definitely not running my train of thought because that train has left the station. It's on a collision course.
Ladies and gentlemen, my train of thought has left the building.
Yes. So, do you have a toast, perhaps?
I do happen to have a toast that I could use for this.
Okay.
It's a quote. And I will see if you can remember who it's from.
Okay. Bones McCoy.
Hell is at the bottom of your bottle.
Attempting to reach you on your cellular device.
It's weird. Sorry. An idiot was attempting to reach me on my cellular device.
Hell is at the bottom of your bottle. Heaven is another frosty glass. You've got to live through one to fill the other, and you never know which drink will be your last.
Oh, that's a good one.
Cheers.
What's that from? I like that.
That was from one of my songs back in the day from Texistentialist.
Wow. I was going to say whoever wrote that was a genius, but now that I know it's you.
Changed around all that.
Definitely a genius. That was good. I like that.
Thank you.
I'm looking at this subject. It's not very exciting, but we'll continue.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't know that the Kinks were the big partiers like that.
Oh.
I was, for some reason, I did hear the Cat Stevens story, so I knew that had happened. But I think it's still interesting.
Well,
I'm very excited to learn about why Boy George was banned. I can guess.
This is gonna shock and amaze you, but he was banned from entering the U.S. of America in 2008 after he was arrested in the U.K. on allegations of assaulting and imprisoning a Dunn Carlson, a Norwegian model and male escort. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Boy George is... Anyway, though George denied the allegations, he was already dealing with arrests in the U.S., which didn't help his case. And he was found guilty in the U.K. and sentenced to over a year in prison, though he only served 4 months. I didn't know that. I did not know that he served time. I'm sure he was very popular in prison, being a singer.
Wow.
Famous.
Oh, okay. He also served as a host on the Duran Duran documentary on Netflix.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I kept wondering, why do they have him on here? He is not contributing anything.
Well, they just needed someone to tumble for them.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah. Okay. He got over a year in prison for kidnapping and assault, like imprisoning a person.
Well, he served
that sounds
4 months.
like...
No, he served for 4 months.
And then served 4 months.
Yeah.
So that makes me think, did he really? I mean, did he really do anything? Did he really imprison another human and assault them and only get 4 months?
It's hard to say. I mean, he was probably medicated then at the time, so anything's possible.
Yeah.
Or
or
not. Who knows? This person could have been not telling the truth.
And we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it could be just a mistaken identity like O.J. Simpson. It's not, could have been somebody else, not them, because, we know O.J. was completely innocent. But, yeah, said he didn't return the U.S. until 2014 and resumed touring there. So I
missed him.
Yeah, me too. My gosh. Yeah. So do you know who Lily Allen is?
I do not.
Then this is not going to mean anything to you. She was banned from entering the U.S. in 2007 after being arrested for lamping a photographer. I have no idea. Maybe she hit the photographer with a lamp?
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
Maybe.
But who knows? Well, it didn't last long, and she supported Miley Cyrus on 7 shows on her Bangers tour in the U.S. later that year. And on a side note, Miley Cyrus was banned from China, causing a stir back in 2006 when she was reportedly banned from China for pulling a racially offensive pose in a photograph with friends. In 2015, she was banned from appearing in the Dominican Republic because her shows sees her as undertake acts that go against moral and customs which are punishable by Dominican law. So Miley for the win, I guess, in this situation between Miley and Lily Allen.
Well, and sometimes,
dead is better.
Well, because other countries, some of them are even more uptight about things than we are. So
agreed. Yeah. I think this is a case of mistaken identity. Really, so I think it was Hannah Montana there the whole time that was doing this.
I looked up lamping, and lamping is hunting at night with like a flashlight or something.
That doesn't seem like should be punishable. She was lamping a photographer.
Okay, and then I looked. I found another. This is from Oxford, so maybe this is a British thing. To hit somebody very hard.
Oh, okay.
Lamp somebody. The guy lamped me. I wonder why they wouldn't just say
hitting somebody very hard.
Lamping.
Assault. Why don't they just say assault?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. Well,
okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's a pretty interesting stroll through
Memory Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I thought.
Speaking of a little bit of music and United States history there, where the two converge, where they collide.
Yeah. So, do you know who I'd never really listened to him. I know who Peter Doherty is, but the Libertines?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
Well, so Peter Doherty was known for both his music and his drug abuse, so that's something very great to be known for. And he was banned from the U.S. in 2010. He had been slated to play a set with Sean Lennon, son of John, for the launch of a magazine called Corduroy. But he never made it through JFK. Instead, immigration officials cited his uses of substance abuse and subsequently convictions in the UK, me no talk good, and sent him back to London. Today, he is not allowed in the country despite libertines wanting to make inroads in America. So he's still not allowed back in the U.S., according to my sources, which are not very reliable. I'll be honest with you.
Is Mark Wahlberg, is he still not allowed in Boston?
Sir, I think he's from Boston, though, right?
Oh, but I thought he wasn't allowed in Boston because he did something. Am I making up words?
No, I think it's okay for him to be in Boston.
Okay.
I don't understand words. Well, what I do understand is this show is over, so we'll see you next week on another exciting round of Beer